after the birth of her 3 babies. She said, "Keep them." "I will also keep you," he answered. "Before we begin, comment your country so I know where this story is reaching." Snow sweeps across the empty prairie road, cold enough to silence everything except the wind. On the frozen ground, wrapped in a torn wagon tarp, Clara Mayfield lies weak and trembling. She fled her home before dawn, hoping to reach safety, but the storm caught her first. The babies came early, right there on the roadside, with nothing but darkness and fear around her. Her 3 newborns cry softly against her chest. She tries to keep them warm with her own body heat, but she's fading fast. Her lips are blue, her breath short. She knows she doesn't have much time left. A horse approaches through the storm. Jacob Harland, a rancher heading home before the worst of the cold hits, sees a shape in the snow and pulls his horse to a stop. When he realizes it's a woman with 3 infants, his voice breaks into a sharp breath. He kneels beside her, lifting the babies into his coat. Feeling how cold they already are, Clara forces her eyes open, staring at him through the blur of exhaustion. "Please, keep them," she whispers. "They deserve a life I can't give." Her words hit him hard. He gathers all 4 of them close, his coat wrapped around the babies, his arms steady under her shoulders. He answers without hesitation, voice firm, low, and certain. "I will also keep you." In the freezing wind, those words feel like the only warmth left in the world. If you're enjoying the story so far, make sure to subscribe. Jacob lifts Clara carefully, feeling how light she is and how close she is to slipping away. The wind cuts hard across the prairie, but he doesn't slow down. He tucks the babies against his chest under his coat, their tiny breasts warming the fabric. They're quiet now, tired from crying, but alive. That's all that matters. Clara leans weakly against him as he carries her to the horse. Her voice barely rises above the wind. "You don't have to help me." Jacob doesn't answer. He's focused on getting her out of the cold. Talking wastes breath she can't afford to lose. He lifts her onto the saddle, then climbs up behind her, keeping one arm around her and the babies pressed safely between them. His coat wraps around all 4 lives as he clicks the reins and urges the horse forward. The prairie stretches endlessly, white and unforgiving. Hooves crunch through the snow, the sound steady and urgent. Clara's head dips forward, and he gives her a small shake. "Stay awake," he says. Firm, controlled, not emotional, just necessary. She tries. Her fingers tighten on his sleeve, weak but present. "Thank you, whoever you are." "Jacob," he replies, "and you're not dying out here." The horse pushes through the wind, heading toward the dark outline of hills where Jacob's ranch waits. Not close enough, not soon enough, but reachable if she holds on. Clara closes her eyes again, trusting him because she has nothing else left. And Jacob tightens his grip, refusing to let the storm take what he found on that lonely road. The storm begins to break as Jacob reaches the ridge above his land. A thin line of gold slips beneath the clouds, just enough light to guide him the rest of the way. Clara leans heavily against him, her strength nearly gone. The babies press quietly against his chest, warmed only by his coat and body heat. His ranch finally appears below, a small cabin, smoke drifting from a chimney, a single lantern glowing in the window. A simple place, but strong. Safe. Jacob nudges the horse downhill, steady and controlled. Each jolt makes Clara flinch, but she doesn't complain. She barely can. "You're close," he murmurs. "Don't stop now." She nods faintly, not sure if she hears him or just feels a promise behind the words. For the first time since she fled her home, she senses even a sliver of safety. At the gate, Jacob swings down quickly, taking the babies first. He checks each one with a quick look, their breathing shallow but steady. He wraps them tighter, then returns for Clara. Her voice breaks through the quiet. Why help me? You don't know me." Jacob lifts her gently from the saddle. His reply is simple, almost blunt. "You were in the road. That's enough. No questions, no hesitation. Just a choice he made the moment he found her." He carries her onto the porch and pushes the cabin door open with his shoulder. Warm air rushes out. Fire, stew, and the soft of a home that's used to silence. Inside, he lays the babies on a thick blanket near the fire, then settles Clara beside them. Her eyes fill with tears she tries to hide. She never expected anyone to treat her or children with this kind of care. Jacob kneels beside the fire, adding wood. "Warm up," he says calmly. "You're safe here." Outside, the wind still howls. Inside, the storm finally begins to loosen its grip. The cabin settles into a steady quiet, broken only by the soft crackle of the fire. Clara lies near the hearth, wrapped in blankets Jacob places carefully around her. The 3 newborns rest beside her, tiny hands curled, breathing weak but steady. Warmth slowly returns to their bodies. Jacob moves with calm purpose. No rushing, no wasted motion. He ladles warm broth into a tin cup and kneels beside Clara, lifting her gently so she can sip. She tries, her hands shaking, her voice barely there. "I didn't think we'd survive." "You did," he answers. "Now rest." His tone is simple, straightforward, not softened for comfort. He checks the babies again, making sure the blankets touch their skin. Clara watches him with a mix of disbelief and exhaustion. She's never seen anyone treat her children with this kind of quiet responsibility. Her eyes drift toward him. "You don't even know what I ran from." Jacob sits back on his heels. "When someone's freezing in the snow with newborns, I don't need a story first." She looks away, tears building. "I shouldn't stay long. I'll only bring trouble here." Jacob shakes his head once, slow and certain. "You brought 3 lives into the world in the middle of a storm. That's not trouble." She studies him, trying to understand a man who doesn't ask for anything, doesn't judge, doesn't push, just helps. A man who made a decision on that road and seems unwilling to change it. The firelight softens the room. The babies settle into sleep. Clara's eyes grow heavy, trusting the warmth, trusting his presence, even if she doesn't fully understand why. For the first time since she fled her home, she feels safe enough to close her eyes. But the past she ran from hasn't disappeared. It's only paused. Night settles over the cabin, calm and quiet. Clara wakes to the soft glow of the lantern, unsure how long she's been asleep. The babies rest beside her, warmer now. They're breathing stronger. For the first time since the birth, she doesn't feel the cold biting at her skin. Jacob sits at the small table, cleaning his hands and checking the cloths he used to warm the newborns. He glances over when he hears her stir. "You're holding steady," he says. "That's good." Clara shifts slightly, wincing from exhaustion. "I didn't expect to wake up here." "You almost didn't wake up at all," Jacob replies. "But you did, and they did." She watches him quietly. He isn't trying to comfort her with soft words. He isn't asking anything. He's simply stating facts, making sure she understands she survived because someone cared enough to act. Her voice softens. "You saved more than me." Jacob nods lightly. "I wasn't leaving 3 newborns in the snow." Clara hesitates, swallowing hard. "You don't know what their father is like, what he'll do when he realizes I'm gone." Jacob meets her eyes, steady and unbothered. "That's your past. Right now you're here, and these babies are safe." There's no fear in his tone, no panic, just certainty, the kind she's never had from anyone. Clara looks at the fire, the blankets, the babies breathing softly. This place that feels unreal, like I don't deserve it. Jacob stands, walks to the hearth, and adds another log. "You deserve warmth. Everyone does." Simple words, solid, true, and they hit her harder than any promise she's ever heard. Outside, the wind fades into silence. Inside, something new begins to take shape, a sense of safety she isn't sure how to accept yet. Morning comes slow and pale. The storm is gone, leaving the prairie quiet under a soft layer of white. Inside the cabin, Clara wakes to the smell of warm bread and boiling water. The babies lie close, bundled and peaceful, their tiny breaths steady. Jacob moves quietly across the room, checking the fire, adjusting a kettle, making sure the warmth never drops. He isn't doing anything dramatic, just steady work, the kind that keeps people alive. Clara watches him for a moment before speaking. "You've done more than anyone ever has for me. Jacob doesn't turn. I did what needed doing. She studies him. His voice carries no pride, no hidden meaning. Just truth. Clara sits up slowly, pulling the blankets tighter. I need to tell you something. I didn't just run because of fear. I ran because I knew the babies wouldn't survive in that house. Jacob finally looks at her, expression calm but sharp with understanding. You chose the road, he says, because staying was worse. She nods, eyes lowering. Yes, and I wasn't sure I'd survive long enough to meet anyone who cared. Jacob places a cup of warm water in her hands. You met someone. The simplicity of the words shakes her more than anything he said before. She wipes a tear quickly, embarrassed. I don't want to be a burden here. Jacob sits on a stool beside her, voice even. You're not. You're a mother who fought through a storm for her children. That's strength. Clara looks at him with a mix of disbelief and gratitude. No one ever called it that. They should have. The room settles into quiet again, but it's different now. Warmer, safer, full of something unspoken. The babies stir, and Jacob checks them gently, his hand steady and sure. Clara watches him with a soft, new understanding. She isn't alone anymore. The morning grows brighter as the sun climbs over the ridge, filling the cabin with a soft, steady glow. Clara sits near the fire, feeding the babies one by one. Her hands are still weak, but steadier than yesterday. Each small breath they take feels like a small victory. Jacob repairs a cracked board near the door, working with quiet focus. He isn't trying to impress her, isn't trying to win anything. He's simply living the way he always has, steady, dependable, without noise. Clara glances over at him. You act like this is normal, like taking in strangers with newborns happens every day. Jacob wipes the dust off his hands. It doesn't, but leaving someone out in the cold is an option. His voice is calm, but the words hold weight. He means them. Clara exhales slowly. I didn't think anyone like you existed. Jacob looks at her then. Really looks. Most folks just don't expect much from life. Doesn't mean they can't do right. She holds his gaze a moment longer than she intended. There's something grounding about him. Something she can't define. The babies finish feeding, soft and content. Clara lays them back in the quilt-lined box Jacob made last night. Her voice softens. They're safe here. I can see that. Jacob nods. They'll stay safe. She hesitates, then adds quietly, almost a whisper, and me. He doesn't rush his answer. You too. The words settle in the room, quiet but solid as a foundation. Clara looks away, blinking back a warmth she hasn't felt in years. Outside, the snow begins to melt under sun. Inside, trust begins to take its first real shape. A soft afternoon light settles through the windows, warm and steady. Clara sits at the table now, stronger than before, her hands wrapped around a cup of warm broth. The babies sleep nearby in the quilted box Jacob built, their tiny chests rising and falling in perfect rhythm. Jacob sets a fresh log on the fire, then turns toward her. You're gaining color, he says. That's good. Clara offers a small, tired smile. I feel different, like I finally stopped running. Jacob nods once. Running takes more out of a person than the cold ever will. She knows he's right. The road didn't nearly kill her. The life she fled did. Clara takes a breath. I should tell you something. I didn't think I'd make it past that storm. I thought, if someone found the babies, maybe they'd live, even if I didn't. Jacob steps closer. His tone stays level, firm. They didn't need someone. They needed you. Her eyes lower. I wasn't sure I deserved to be their mother. You fought the storm for them, he says. That a mother. The words strike deeper than he'll ever realize. No softness. No flattery. Just truth. Clara swallows hard, then studies him quietly. You talk like someone who's lived through things too. He gives a small shrug. Everyone's got a past. Some of us just don't stay stuck in it. She holds his gaze for a long moment. A steady, warm silence settles between them, the kind that only forms when two lives begin to trust each other. A soft sound comes from the babies, and Jacob turns to check them, adjusting a blanket with calm, practiced hands. Clara watches him carefully, noticing how natural he looks near her children. For the first time, she wonders what life would look like if she didn't leave when she healed. Outside, the snow continues to melt. Inside, something even quieter begins to grow. Hope. Evening settles slowly, painting the cabin in deep gold and quiet shadows. Clara sits near the babies, watching them sleep with a calm she hasn't felt in years. Their tiny breaths fill the room with a steady rhythm, soft and reassuring. Jacob finishes stacking wood by the door, then wipes his hands on his trousers. He glances at Clara, noticing the steadiness in her posture, the way she holds herself now. "You're stronger today," he says. She nods. "Because of this place. Because of you." Jacob doesn't react with pride. He simply sits across from her, his voice the same calm tone he's used since the moment he found her. "You survived because you decided to. I just helped push back the cold." Clara looks at him for a long moment. You don't realize it, but you pull 4 people out of snow. Jacob answers softly, almost like he's stating a fact rather than accepting praise. That's what a decent man does. Silence fills the space, warm, not uncomfortable. Clara hesitates, then speaks again. "When I told you to keep my babies, I meant it. I thought you'd be better for them than I ever could." Jacob holds her eyes. "And I told you I would also keep you." Her breath catches. "You meant that?" I don't say things I don't mean. Nothing dramatic. No grand gesture. Just a quiet, grounded truth that hits her harder than the storm ever did. Clara looks at the fire, her voice softer now. "I don't know what comes next." Jacob stands and checks the babies, adjusting their blankets with gentle hands. "You don't need to know everything today," he says. "You just need to stay warm. Stay here. Heal." His hand pauses on the blanket as he adds, "And when you're ready, we'll figure the rest out." Clara watches him, realizing she's no longer thinking about leaving. Outside, the last light fades across the snow. Inside, a new beginning takes its first quiet breath. Night settles fully, wrapping the cabin in quiet warmth. Clara sits near the fire, the baby sleeping peacefully beside her. Jacob pours her a fresh cup of warm tea and sets it gently on the table. His movements are calm, steady, the same quiet strength that carried her out of the storm. Clara looks at him for a long moment. "I never thought a place like this or a man like you was real." Jacob sits across from her. "You showed up in the snow with 3 newborns. I just did what was right." She shakes her head softly. "You did more than that. You gave us a chance." Jacob studies her carefully. "And you gave them life. That makes you stronger than you think." Clara brushes her hand across one of the baby's blankets. "I was ready to hand them over. I truly believed they'd be better without me." Jacob leans forward slightly. "You were exhausted, freezing, and alone. That wasn't truth speaking. That was fear." A pause. "Now you're not alone." Her eyes fill, but she doesn't look away. "What happens now?" Jacob glances at the babies, then back at her. "You stay. As long as you need. As long as you want." A beat. "I kept my word the moment I said it. I will keep them, and I will keep you." The words land softly, firmly, carrying the weight of a promise deeper than anything she's known. Clara exhales a long, trembling release, the sound of someone finally letting go of fear. She nods slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. Then, "I'll stay." Jacob stands, checking the babies one last time before dimming the lantern. "Good," he says. "Tomorrow starts fresh." The camera lingers on a quiet scene, a warm cabin, 3 safe newborns, and 2 lives slowly intertwining after a night that could have ended everything. Outside, the snow glows under the moonlight. Inside, a new family begins without needing to say the word. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe for more warm frontier tales.